Alright everyone, welcome back to another Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes video with Fat Phil, and we're going to talk about ship farming today. We're going to go over the early ships you should farm first in Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes. Let's kind of get a few things out of the way here. Number one, this guide combines two things: accessibility and use down the road. I could give you the easiest ships to farm early. That's not a problem, but I want to give you guys the best tools possible to be able to build the best roster, using your resources wisely, understanding how it's going to impact you in the game. So there's a few things to keep in mind with ships, right? Make sure you guys like and subscribe, comment down below. I want to hear your guys' thoughts. So the first thing you need to build for in ships, right? You can't do too much in ships at one time. Ships takes the longest to farm. They're the hardest things to farm. There's not as many of them, single drops, all that stuff, right? I get it. So you want to build towards this ship ability materials, because this is where you start earning Zetas, right? You start earning Zetas in this battle. So you need to get your Executrix. The Executrix is the most important fleet early on because it unlocks the Zeta challenge, right? And that's when you can start earning them, is right here, tier 3 with a 5-star. You need 5-star or higher Executrix and 6 non-capital ships, right? That's what you need here. So understanding that, though, to get the Executrix to that point, you need dark side ships. So we're going to start off with your dark side ships that you should farm first. Let's get into it, guys. So, obviously, here's our king. Although he's not a pilot, he is king. Wampa resides in our hearts and is sitting on his lofty relegate throne. Okay, so I just wanted to show you guys first here, like, obviously, eventually, Revan's going to be your fleet commander. But here's the dark side fleet commanders, and they are so much easier to, like, obtain than the light side ones, and they're all significant. Like, all 5 of these characters right here, I use these fleets all the time, right? For the light side, I cannot say that. We'll kind of cover that a little bit, but you will use all 5 of these guys as your roster progresses through. In fact, you'll end up using this guy as well. Like, you'll use all 6 of these fleets. The dark side fleets just kind of rule the game right now. So the first 3 pilots you want to be thinking about are your Geonosians. Geonosians are fantastic pilots. Their ships are all really good, and they don't need a lot of investment. Like, these are my current Geonosians, and I do just fine with my Malevolence fleet. So Sunfok, Geospy, Geonosian Soldier. Now, where to get these guys, right? I'm going to actually switch my screen over a little bit here to a second, and we're going to take a look at, where's this wiki page here? Let me know if you guys see this here. Go here. Go here. You guys see this now? So here's the Star Wars wiki page, right? This is a great... I'm going to link this in the channel in the description of the video down below. So if we go down to our Geonosians, right? So Geonosian Soldier ship, right? It's on a hard node, but it's in the Fleet Arena store and the Galactic War store. Even in Guild Event, I would not use your Guild Event. But the Fleet Arena Galactic War. Galactic War Store is going to be the hidden gem of all of your ship farms. There's so many ships available in the Galactic War Store, and that's where I would get as many of them to 7-star as you can using that currency. What you'll want to do with the Galactic War Store is, and I'll kind of show you guys this as well, but you just unlock the pilot that you're going to need, right? Couple characters we're going to get to 7-star, but you'll unlock the pilot that you need and then just get their ship to 7-star. You can have a 2-star pilot with a 7-star ship, and that meets requirements, right? That doesn't matter. So just keep that in mind. Geonosian Spy is only Fleet Arena Store and Galactic War Store. And then finally, Sunfok. Where's he at? He down here somewhere. Sunfok. Again, he's in the Fleet Battles. He's got a hard node. But then also in the Fleet Arena Store and the Galactic War Store. So, Fleet Arena Store, Galactic War Store, you're going to want to use your, currency wisely for those things. I would 1000% recommend that, we pursue those characters through those things, right? So that's what I would do. All right, I'm just trying to sort my, gosh, guys, I can't figure this out. My blue stacks is all kind of crazy right now. All right, that should be good. Okay. This is for you guys saying I need to Relic 9 these characters. If you don't know what FFS stands for, you can go look it up. I can't say it on here because I will get demonetized, and when you're trying to buy a new house, getting demonetized on YouTube would not be a good idea. Just saying. All right, Boba Fett. Boba Fett is super accessible as a character and very easy plug-and-play character to get, right? I love Boba Fett. His ship, Slave 1, is amazing. This ship is available it's got a hard node, and it's in the cantina. It's in the fleet battle store here. Again, if we switch our screen back over, come on, BlueStacks, I know you can do it. All right, we switch this over just to show you guys. Where's it at? There's the wiki page, right? And I think Slave 1 is probably up on the screen here somewhere. Yep, there it is. Fleet Arena Store. So you kind of do, do both at the same time, and I think you'll get it a lot faster. That's one of the tips here, is that with some of these ships, you want to farm them on the hard node that they're on and through the store. Because think of it like this. Every time you buy it in the store, that's, 4 shards that you didn't have to go get yourself. And if you assume, call it a 20% drop rate, you're getting 1 shard every day, right? You're getting 5 attempts, you get 1 shard through a 20% drop rate. So every time you buy that out of the fleet store, that saved you 4 days of farming. Just, again, that's some simple math. I think it probably works out to a better drop rate than that. But again, that's just my, Slave 1 quick talk there, that you want to supplement with the fleet store. And that's why Galactic War Store is that hidden gem for some of those ships that, oh, you know what? Like, I can buy them in the Galactic War Store and I can save my fleet store. So, Boba Fett there. All right, Darth Vader and TIE Fighter pilot here. So, Darth Vader, again, is another one where his ship is on a hard node, right? It's on a hard node and in the Fleet Arena Store. I'm not going to keep switching back and forth all the time. You guys can go check that wiki page, but trust me, I am, checking it back and forth. I wanted to show you with a couple examples there. But, this one, it's got the hard node here for the TIE Advanced, and it's in the fleet store. It'll also drop in some of those assault battles if you can get it. I mean, that is what it is, right? But TIE Fighter Pilot's the interesting one here. This ship is actually very accessible. It's not only in the Galactic War Store, the fleet store, but it's also on the Cantina node with TIE Fighter Pilot. And that makes it a lot easier to get, right? This ship is really going to give a lot of players an early advantage to have both of those ships together. They work really well. So right here already, you have 6 ships. Yes, they're not they're not going to happen overnight, right? Particularly like Boba, where he's hard node, right? They're not going to happen overnight. But there's 6 ships right there that you can be farming, and you're only looking at, 2 hard nodes and a Cantina node, right? Because the Geonosian ships, 1000% just get them through Galactic War Store and the Fleet Store, right? So, I mean, now, you're rocking and rolling here, right? You're moving along with your fleet currency. Bossk. Why is Bossk on here? His ship, the Houndstooth, is literally like a galactic legend in this game. Yes, it's on a hard node only, which I get it. It's not the most enjoyable thing, but you need it for Executor if you're following along in my farming guide. You need it for Executor. So that's why I have him up here, just one of these characters that you really need to push for. Bossk is that good. He's that important. He's one of those that as soon as you can get to that hard node, as soon as you can farm him in the Houndstooth, do it right away. Before the Xanadu Blood, get Bossk. That's how game-changing his ship is. All right, I do want to cover this. The crewless ships. We're going to scroll down here to get to the crewless ships. There are 5 crewless ships in the game. The Republic Starfighter here, right? Republic Y-Wing. The Hyena Bomber. The Imperial TIE Bomber. The Rebel Y-Wing. And the Vulture Droid. All 5 of these ships do not have a crew, right? There's no crew members in these ships. And that makes them some of the most valuable ships in this game. Think of your Separatist fleet. The reason I always say Malevolence is so good is because when you look at your Separatists, I need to gear 4 characters. Look, this is my Separatist fleet at 8.8, and I do very well, right? This fleet has served me so well. Gear 12, 2 crewless ships. You're looking at gearing 4 characters and for 5 total ships. That's awesome. That is one of the best things. I mean, again, obviously, I guess 6 ships if you count the Malevolence itself, but it's unbelievably good. It's unbelievably amazing how good a value those things are, and particularly because you need the Imperial TIE Bomber for the Executor, and it shares a node with Queel, who you need for Beskar Mando, you're going to end up getting Imperial TIE Bomber probably pretty early on. And then, Vulture Droid is another one that we'll kind of cover here, right? So you're going to get some of those a lot earlier than you think, and they really, really help you progress in the game because you don't have to waste gear on that pilot, right? It gives you the ability to go gear up another character and just use that crewless ship. Now, these are some honorable mentions for ships you want to get early. So the TIE Silencer, I want to at least throw it on here and say it's very easy to get this ship. right? It's on an early Cantina node. Cantina is a more favorable place to earn things, but I don't recommend that you do this unless you're rushing the Supreme Leader Kylo Ren, and then you could go get this ship, right? And that'll kind of fill out your fleet. But it's a great early ship. It's just not one that I would be investing in like crazy because of where it's located, right? Now, Iden Versio is interesting. Why do I have Iden here? So the Vulture droid shares a node with Iden. And remember I said those crewless ships are worth so much. So if you decide that you want to get Iden and use her as that 5th member of your Imperial Trooper squad, which is very easy to do, right? You can 1000% do that. You're going to get the Vulture droid along the way. And Iden has a ship of her own that has a hard node in the fleet battles. Now again, hard nodes suck. I understand that. I get it. But being able to do 2 farms to get 2 ships and a character all at the same time is pretty good value. So it's an honorable mention to say that I would not be focusing on Iden before your Executor stuff. But if you have some leftover resources, the TIE Defender with Iden is a fantastic addition if you're farming that Vulture droid. I recommend that big time. Then obviously Cad Bane, IG-88, their ships are on hard nodes. Look, you just got to do it, right? You have to farm those 2 things. You need it for the Executor. Even though Xanadu Blood isn't a requirement, you need the ship, so you got to go do it. But they're not part of those initial couple ships that I would be focusing on, counting on to level up your Executrix, right? Those are all the ones that I had mentioned up here because it's going to take you a lot longer to get here. So that's your dark side ships, right? The thing with dark side ships that I find pretty, difficult, right? That I don't know. I guess with dark side ships, what I would say is that you're going to be able to build a lot more synergy early on. Just, because I'm recommending you go Executor first, you're getting Malevolence, so you're going to have a lot of dark side ships early. And then you do need to start building into the light side, which is the second part, right? Which we're going to get into now. So now we got to talk about the light side. These are your light side fleet commanders, and they're a lot harder, right? Like Mace Windu and Admiral Akbar, although they're starting fleets, they're both terrible, right? And Akbar, I shouldn't say Akbar's terrible. His fleet gets stolen by Admiral Raddus in the late game. It is still a very solid fleet early on. It's just, I find it really hard to tell players that, you should get a really good Admiral Akbar because you're just going to end up replacing it with a Profundity fleet. So, I don't know. It's just kind of one of those things where it kind of sucks that, Akbar's, literally takes the most important part of his fleet, which is the Millennium Falcon. So, we'll cover that. The Resistance fleet is kind of, it's meh, right? It's not that great. Obviously, Negotiator's one of the best fleets in the game, but it seems like they've really tried to release everything to make that fleet, really sink down. And then Profundity, obviously, probably I go back and forth on whether I think Executor or Profundity's better. I think Executor gets the nod for defensive, defense RNG on, Executor is just, impossible to beat. So, anyway, light side is a lot harder, right? So, what are the early ships I recommend here? So, Biggs is first. He's your best early tank. His ship is available in the Galactic War Store. He's available in the Galactic War Store. It's also in Fleet Arena, right? It's a very solid early tank, right? There it is, Galactic War Store. The big thing with, the big thing, I didn't even mean to say that. The best part with Biggs, you're going to need him later on down the road for your, Jedi Master Luke anyway. But really kind of a solid early tank. Just get your foot in the door, and again, very, very easy to get, right? Which kind of fills the slot for the next 2 characters, right? Ahsoka Tano and Wedge, they're easily accessible. Both of their ships are available in the Galactic War Store and the Fleet Store, which is the case for a lot of these things, but if you can get those ships out of those stores, right, with your, I know everybody's going to say, but fleets, I need to use that for Zetas and the Razor Crest and all this stuff. I understand that, but it's the options, right? It's that, I'm, 1 buy away from getting a 6-star, Ahsoka Tano Starfighter or Wedge Antilles X-Wing. I'm going to go buy it in the Fleet Arena store if it's there. And, it gives you those options. It gives you flexibility. With your Fleet Arena credits, my personal opinion is that with your Fleet Arena store credits, you cannot buy Zetas until you're in the end game. Or not in the end game, sorry. Until you've gotten a lot of those ships to 7-star, I would not be using those for Zetas. Not because I don't think Zetas are important, but because farming ships is that much more important than farming Zetas. that if you get stuck behind on ships, it is a very hard hole to dig yourself out of. So get these easily accessible ships and get them early, and it'll benefit you later on down the road. All right, Cassian's ship is a very good value, and here's why. So Cassian himself is a Squad Arena store character. Jin is in the guild store. Again, and these are just characters that you just need to unlock, right? Don't worry about taking them to 7-star, thinking that I'm saying to 7-star all these characters. Just get them unlocked. That's all you need to do with any of these fleet characters. That just get them unlocked. You can throw some gear on them if you need to. Just get it to the point that you can use their ship. K2, the final one, Galactic War Store. I mean, very easy to get, right? Galactic War Store is a joke farm. And then Cassian's U-Wing, right? This ship is available in the Cantina store. So very, very easy to get this ship. One of those that, in terms of trying to build solid light side ships early, this is great. It's got good synergy because it's a Rebel, which would work well with not only Admiral Akbar, but also Wedge and Biggs. So, Cassian's ship, because of how easy the characters are to get and the ship itself, one of those ones I put near the top of those like early ships to farm for light side. All right, next we've got Rex and Clone Sergeant here. So with Rex's ship, right, this is kind of a controversial shout, but it is available in the Fleet Arena store, right? You can get it in the Assault Battle, right, and get some lucky drops at times. But the thing is that Rex himself is also pretty, oops, I'm like clicking all over the place, man, hold on. Go all the way back out, Clicky McClickerson. Come on. There we go. So Rex himself isn't that difficult to obtain either because he is in the guild store. So again, you could just unlock him, right, and then start using his ship. Same thing with Clone Sergeant. Clone Sarge is a joke. He is in the fleet store. He is in the guild store. He's even got a hard node. Not that I would farm his hard node. He'll also drop in bronziums, right? And then his ship itself, very easy to get. Again, another one, Galactic War Store. There it is. Look, Galactic War Store. It's in the fleet store. And then it even has a hard node. I would not go farm that ship on the hard node. I would get it out of the stores. But again, it's all about accessibility. If you guys, I'm going to beat that to a dead horse. It's all about accessibility with ships early on. Okay, Fives and Anakin. So these are two of, I almost did not put these characters in here, but I think they're worth mentioning, and they're worth mentioning at this point. So let's start with Jedi Knight Anakin. He himself is a hard node. Again, a very easy hard node very early on. A great character to farm early for a lot of different reasons. But his ship, of course I clicked out of it. His ship is an early farm in the fleet nodes. And I would say that if you're farming, the earlier you can farm this ship, the better. It's the only place you can get it is this hard node. The drop rates are criminal. I have reported capital gains to the FBI for investigation on the drop rates on this node because I still have PTSD and see a therapist once a week to complain about the trauma I underwent farming this ship. I still think it has the worst drop rates in the game. I'm just going to say that. But in all seriousness, it's just such an important ship to get that the earlier you can get your hands on it, the better, right? It's one of those that you want to get out of the way before you get Negotiator, because when you get Negotiator, you want it 7-star, you want Anakin geared. It's not something that, oh, I got Negotiator, now I can kind of work on Anakin. You need to have Anakin for that ship to work, right? And then Fives is the other one. Now, Fives himself is available in the Cantina store, which used to be the best place to get him. But then, they put him on a hard node with the Umbaran Starfighter. And now, what I would tell you to do is just farm this node. Because Umbaran Starfighter is going to take you a long time that you'll get your 7-star Fives. And this ship is also available. Jeez, my cat. I don't know. They are crazy all the time. I swear, anytime I make a video, my cats decide that it's time to overdose on catnip. But what I would say is that the Umbaran Starfighter and Fives, you want to get them on this node, right? Get them on this node. Work on this node. You supplement with the Umbaran Starfighter because it is available on, in the Galactic War store, in the Fleet of Battle store, right? There's a couple places that you can get this ship. So I so recommend, you farm this node because you're going to need them, right? You find the place to do it, right? There's a time and place. Maybe after you finish Executor, you start working on those light side ships to really boost them up. Because it is a fantastic ship. It goes hand in hand with that Galactic Republic fleet that you want to be building. But definitely highly recommend this one. All right, Phoenix 1. The Phoenix ships they're difficult, right? And they're very difficult, and here's why. The Phoenix ships used to be some things that I would tell everybody you need to go for, right? That you can't afford to not farm your Phoenix ships. With the change to Hera being on a hard node now, it definitely, threw a wrench in that plan. What I'll say is that with the Phoenix ships, they're worth getting because that's the only way you get Thrawn, right? You need those ships for Thrawn. Again, Hera is now on the node with her ship here. Right, so you guys can see, look, you can get this in the Fleet Arena store, Guild Event, But Hera and this ship on the same node together. So, again, this is another one where you're going to farm Hera, right? Get her up and running. Eventually, she's a side project, right? You farm this node. But the thing I would kind of do, if I was just, the way I kind of look at this is one of those nodes that you get Hera to 7-star, whatever this ship is sitting at, supplement the rest of us via the Fleet Arena store. By the time and place that you get to here, you're probably going to have a lot of those other ships out of that Fleet Arena store done and farmed, or, the vast majority of them, that farming this and finishing it off won't hurt you. That's kind of the way I look at this one, right? Some of these situations, it's a get it to a certain point and then finish it off with everything else, right? Now, the Phantom here is a little bit different, right? This ship, it is on a hard node, right? Don't ever farm this hard node. It's available in the Fleet Arena store. And I think that's, it's in, and it's also, it's just in the Fleet Arena store and in the Guild Event store. Look, the thing is, you need it to get Thrawn. I don't think that farming it on a hard node with normal energy is worth it, because with Fleet energy, there's not as much to do, right? So it's easier to say go farm a hard node in Fleet. But with regular energy, there's so many other things you're missing out on that I would just slow farm this out of the Fleet Arena store. I think that's going to be your best bet. If you really want to put yourself through some pain, you could farm that regular node if you really, really want Thrawn's ship. But otherwise, I just kind of let this accumulate naturally over time, and you'll be fine, right? This one, because it's on that node with Hera that you'll eventually want to 7-star her to get Thrawn, you're going to build that ship up. Like, that's a different situation, right? So we've got a couple honorable mentions here, and I'm going to be adding one to the list. And I purposefully left this guy off because I wanted everybody to see this. Plo Koon. We're going to start with him, right? So Plo Koon Starfighter, it shares a Cantina node with him. Or no, it shares a Cantina node. I thought it was with him. It actually is with Night Sister Spirit. Interesting. Not a big fan of that. It is in the Fleet Arena store. It also will show up in the Galactic War store. So you don't really ever need to farm it on this node. And same thing with like Night Sister Spirit. You actually don't ever need to farm this node, because Night Sister Spirit is available through the one Night Sister event that rolls around. You can earn her and, zombie shards. So, it's one of these things where, like, just skip that. Pretend this node doesn't exist, because you can get it in the Fleet Arena store, Galactic War store, Assault Battles. You guys are seeing there's a lot of these, like, random areas you can get these ships. So with Plo Koon, what I would do is just kind of farm him to the point, like, look, he's even available in the Fleet Arena store if you had to. He's in the Cantina for 10 energy, really not that bad. One of those things, unlock him, and then, worry about it later. But he's going to make the honorable mention list. But let's go back up to Kyle Katarn here. So Kyle's in the Cantina, right? He has double drop now, which is nice. But his ship is actually really good early game. It's a great early game Rebel ship. However, it is on a Fleet Energy hard node. So it kind of forces it into the honorable mentions here. However, I do really like that ship. I think a lot of people get some really good uses. I've seen this thing do some crazy stuff early on. So if you're rushing Starkiller, that's a fantastic ship to invest in. Where it fits in, you've got to kind of find that on your own. Some of these side farms, I 1000% will admit to you that I don't have the best line of sight as to where to get them, because you just kind of throw them in there over time, right? All right, Resistance Pilot, this is just for ease. This is such an easy ship to get. This is such an easy, like, it's on a hard node. No, it's not. You don't get that thing on a hard node. The Resistance X-Wing, you can get it in the Fleet Arena store. You can get it in Galactic War store. It's just easy to get, right? And Resistance Pilot, the same thing. Like, Galactic War store, just easy, easy, easy. Just not the greatest ship, right? Dash is another one similar to Kyle. The Outrider's fantastic, but it is on a hard node, right? Makes it a lot more difficult to get. But it's worth mentioning, right? It's an honorable mention that, if you're going to be farming some of these things, it's something to think about, right? All right, Beskar Armor Mando does make the list. The Razor Crest, yes, it's in Proving Grounds. It's also in the Guild Event store for Mark III. Please, I wouldn't do that for this because it's in the Fleet Arena store. This is one of those ones where at all times you save 400 of your fleet currency for when a Razor Crest drops. That's a habit I would get into, is save. I do this all the time with myself. We're going to back out of here this just for a second so I can show you guys this. So you'll see that I have 11,000 of this, right? I keep at least 10,000, bare minimum 10,000. So I won't buy a Zeta here because I'd go under my safety stock of this. And the only reason I do that is maybe something happens to come in here. I don't know. I'm probably being stupid, right? But that's a habit I would get into. Create a safety stock for yourself of, I'm going to save this much for when, Razor Crest drops, or when, that's the kind of stuff you want to look at, right? For when these things are dropping in here, that's the kind of stuff you want to be able to pull off, right? So those are my honorable mentions for the light side, but there's one ship that's kind of missing from that. The MILF. The MILF in the room, the Millennium Falcon. Look, this ship, you're going to get it if you have bounty hunters, right? If you have your bounty hunter ships, you're getting this. So when you're getting your Executor, you're going to end up 7-starring this ship, kind of backing into it. And that makes it pretty accessible as long as you've got Han and Chewbacca. You're going to have this thing. I threw it down here for a reason. Because I understand that some players, maybe they rush light side people early on, and so they probably won't be able to get this ship. But this ship will save you so much time. You will save yourself so much time farming certain things to try and get ships 7-starred if you're able to get that done with your bounty hunters. And then you can kind of use this as your light side ship with your rebels. You'll notice rebels are pretty big early on here, along with the Galactic Republic. That's because those are the best two fleets, right? Those are kind of two of your starter fleets between Akbar and Mace Windu. Get some of that synergy going. And then obviously as you progress, you'll kind of build out more stuff. So I don't know, guys. That's kind of the video. Hopefully, I know it was longer, but I think it covers those, ship farming things of where to get them, how to get them. So let me know what your thoughts are. As always, smash that subscribe button, leave likes, and leave comments, and I'll see you on the next video. Cheers.